struck me that I'm in an industry that's all about beauty. It's all about making people want to buy things because they feel like what they have is not good enough, and what they want is what they see in the magazines and on fashion television and all those things. And it made me wonder, do you think this water lily looks at itself in the reflection of the water and says, I don't know, I'm having a bad petal day? Do those ducks look at themselves and say, you know, do these feathers make my hips look wide? You know, when we look at a forest of trees, and I took this picture, isn't it gorgeous? When we look at a forest of trees, if you walked into that forest, you would see dead trees, diseased trees, rotten trees. You would see petals on flowers that are not perfect. But yet, when we look at flowers, we don't judge them, do we? We don't say, oh, you know, that white lilac really should, there's that black spot, I mean, we should get, no. Because we embrace the beauty in nature unconditionally. But yet, when we look at ourselves, we don't see the perfection. I mean, look at this spider's web, how it's knitted together. Absolutely gorgeous. The trees in the forest together make a beautiful tableau, but yet they're not all the same. Even though they're the same tree, they're all maple trees. And they're crooked trees. There are trees that, and there are people that walk with a limp. Does it make one more beautiful than the other? What I discovered is that in the fashion industry, this ladybug might be saying, I don't know, is this too wild of a print for me? or think about breaking some kind of rule about, you know, wearing orange and black in the summer. This maple, I love this picture of this maple leaf because to me it's a metaphor for Canada, isn't it? We're a little ragged around the edges, but we stay together. And the maple leaf, I mean, I tried to find a perfect maple leaf. I couldn't find one. I couldn't find one. There's a word in Japanese called Wabi-Sabi. And Wabi-Sabi means to celebrate the imperfect. Dogs don't judge other dogs. Dogs don't look at other dogs and say, I'm going to get streaks in my hair. I think I'm going to get my hair highlighted. I'm going to change the color of my hair completely because I want to look like that other dog. And in the seasons, the same pine needles in summer and in winter are just as beautiful. So I live on a lake. I left the fashion industry in 2009 and I moved to a little lake surrounded by nature. And I began to see how inspiring it was to just look out on a frosty winter day and see all the crystals, how nature adorns itself in much the same way that we as people can adorn ourselves with the clothes we wear, the makeup we wear. But the difference is that in nature there's no judging. And how many of you have ever looked in the mirror at yourself and judged yourself harshly? Anybody? Anybody? Guess where I was just 5 minutes ago before I came on. I was so nervous. Should I put my hair up in a ponytail? What do you think? You know, maybe it's, and I think that when we look at nature and see the absolute magnificence with all its imperfections, I want to plant that seed in your mind that you are all part of nature and that you are all perfect, just like this forest. So the three things that I want to share with you today is that everything is a gift. Everything that you've been given, your hair, your eyes, your body, everything is a special gift, and it's not perfect, and it's not supposed to be perfect. The second thing is that relationships are everything. And the most important relationship is the one that you have with yourself. Because in the fashion industry, your relationship with yourself is the one that a lot of companies want you to not be happy with, so that you'll buy a product. So now, let's talk about the world of fashion. I hope by now you're all feeling like really comfortable with yourselves. What happens in the world of fashion? Tell me that that's not a digitally enhanced photograph. It is absolutely impossible for that model's legs to be that long. I don't care if she's 6'3". Beautiful women on the covers of magazine, not a line on their face. Is that real? Do you think this photograph is real? This is a gorgeous gown. Isn't that beautiful? It's like $3,000. For this photo session, there were probably 8 to 10 people cluttering around her, making her look like that. And it's her job to look great. She's an actress. They're using real people on the covers of magazines. But even the pressure for an actress to be thin in Hollywood is quite pervasive. I mean, I think, does this photograph make you want to rush right out and buy one of those outfits? Now, this photograph is a beautiful actress, beautiful, but there's something that doesn't quite look real about that arm. And this particular photograph, I don't know if anybody's underarm looks exactly as clean and as unwrinkled as this one does. This model was one of the first of the voluptuous models that they were being praised, the European designers, for using her because she looked like more of a real girl. And she's about 5'11" and a perfect size 4, but curvaceous. So on the covers of magazines, what you need to know is that not only are there 8 to 10 people taking that shot, but they may have taken 300 shots to get that one. Then it goes to the Photoshop and they doctor the image. Now this belt, I mean, does anybody have a waist that could accommodate that belt? These are my photographs, these are my designs, and we took this photograph of a real girl. She's about 5'3", and she's not a professional model, but we had 4 or 5 people doing her makeup, wind machine. Wouldn't it be great if you could just walk around with a wind machine all over to sort of make your hair fly? And 4 or 5 people to make sure every single hair is in place. I really want to commend the fashion magazines that are starting now to talk about buying Canadian. They're talking about, they're showing real people. This happens to be my daughter, who is a real person and does not have a model's figure. And one of my big challenges was convincing her that she did not have to diet so that she had a body like this. This has been photoshopped. Can you see that right here along this edge, it's way too smooth for a garment to actually look like that. My message to you today is to know when you're looking at something that's real and when you're looking at something that's not real. This is my other daughter, Sophie. Now, if Sophie was going to be a professional model, she's 5'10" and she's beautiful, she would be considered a plus-size model. There was no size 0 15 years ago. Now there are size zeros. Does it mean that people are getting smaller? Absolutely not. They've just changed the number on the size ticket so that people are aspiring to be smaller and smaller. There are some real people, the Olsen twins, who are creating their own collections. Victoria Beckham. Celebrities are now designing clothing. So now, instead of just aspiring to be looking like the model, you're now aspiring to look like the model with the career and all the money that goes with it. It's an unattainable ideal. Here are some photographs of things that I designed, but I need you to know that in this photo session, she was not elongated. This girl is actually this tall. She's over 6 feet tall, but there was a photographer, makeup artist, hairdresser, stylist, photographer's assistant, photographer, lighting person. Each one of these shots is the one shot that was chosen from maybe 100 of each garment. So we photographed about 8 garments. It took the entire day from 9 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. If you had that much time and those many people looking after you and then somebody to doctor it in Photoshop, you would be able to look that good too. Let me tell you how it works. This is me with shorter hair. I don't know if you can recognize me, but this is a photograph of me without any retouching, Photoshop or anything like that. And I thought, I'm just going to fix myself up. This is how easy it is, even with just iPhoto. So I want to get rid of the bags under my eyes. I want to like clean up my neck a little bit there and those lines right there. Okay. There you go. There it is. It's all gone. Aha, perfect. But I couldn't stop there because I want to look like this, right? So this is what happens. And when the photographs are doctored, I'm going, gee, I want to get rid of that window, and I don't really like that tuft of hair that's sticking up there, so I can actually get rid of all that too. And I'm not a professional photo adjuster. So with all of this going into what we see in magazines, how are we supposed to know what to aspire to? Talented, beautiful woman. Does she look real? I mean, do you have a black line going down the middle of your back like that? Even in the old days of Hollywood, beautiful women like Elizabeth Taylor, they didn't have Photoshop back then, but they would shoot behind a filter to give that kind of a gauzy look. So here's my challenge to you. What does all this mean? I've said that everything is a gift and that you're perfect in all your imperfections, and there's a song about that right now that's being played a lot on the radio. You're perfect in all your imperfections, that everything you've been given is a gift. And your relationship with yourself is a very, very important one, and if you can look at yourself in the mirror without judging, then I believe that that's where your true beauty will emerge from. So here's how you might want to try. Does everybody here own an iPhone or a phone that has a camera on it or a digital camera? Everybody got one of those? Put your hands up, yes? Okay, so what you want to do is something like we did with my daughters and my friends at our house. Get out that camera and have your own photo shoot. Right? Get a group of friends and get your cameras and take 200 pictures of yourself. And put on some makeup if you want. But capture yourself in nature so that you can really see that what you need to aspire to is not what you see in the fashion magazines, but rather yourself. These photographs have not been touched. These are 2 young women. I think they're beautiful. These women are beautiful also. With all of their lines and wrinkles, the geography on their face tells the story of their lives. Wouldn't it be a shame if we got rid of all that? Take a photograph of your mom, your aunt, your grandmother, and start to train your eye to see things differently than the way that you're seeing them in magazines. And next time a magazine does a story and they show real people, write them a letter to the editor and thank them for showing real people in their pages. I don't want to put models out of business, because models are a part of the art form that is fashion. Fashion is an art form, like a painting on a wall. It's not intended to be real. The problem is that a lot of people think that it's real and put pressure on themselves to look like that. Take your camera out and just have fun. Take photographs. Let your hair blow in the wind. Experience the fun and joy of just being yourself, and then take those photographs and put them up on your screensaver or up on your fridge or in your room, so that you can, when you walk out of the house every day, that's what you're aspiring to. This is actually the nanny that took care of my kids for a couple of years. And it's amazing, I think, of how beautiful people look when they're just out in nature. I encourage you to jump for joy. Leap into your life. Embrace your authentic self with all of your beautiful gifts that you've been given. Everything is a gift. Your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship that there is. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and you are the beholder. I've dedicated this to my mom and to a very dear friend, Lynn Hutton, who are two women that I admire for embracing their natural beauty and accepting their natural beauty right up until the day that they died. Thank you.